So if you struggle to do the things that you really know that you should do, and if you did them, you would get amazing results, but for some reason you just can't find yourselves to do them on any type of consistent basis, I'm going to walk you through something in this video that will absolutely change everything for you. And here's what I know. It's not that you're lazy. That's not what's going on right now. It's that you just don't have a system that will allow you to consistently do the difficult things day in and day out, even on the days you don't feel like it. So let me share my screen. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the first system is what we call the Jerry Seinfeld system. All right. So here's how this works. You're probably familiar with the comedian Jerry Seinfeld, right? He had probably one of the most successful shows ever. And as he was getting started, like him, right? One of the most successful people in entertainment, probably makes more money than most people. Like everybody else, he struggled to come up with content, right? Probably sounds pretty familiar. For you realtors, it's the same way you struggle to prospect every day. Probably it's like you struggle to make content every day. You struggle to get your weekly emails out. You struggle with all the things that would actually help create success. And here is the system that he created. So what he would actually do is he would have essentially this journal, and it would map out every single day of the week throughout the entire month. And all he wanted to do was sit down at his desk every single day, and he just wanted to write out a certain one joke every single day. And every day that he did that, he would give himself a huge red X. And every single day that he did it, he'd be able to check off the box, so to speak. And what he learned, and there's a lot of studies that psychologists have also done, is that once you start to create this pattern, that breaking the chain or breaking the pattern of consistency actually becomes more difficult than doing the task itself. And we also know this, and we found this to be true too, with all the agents that I work with. I have clients that have put in this exact same system, and this one system alone, let alone all the other systems I'm going to walk you through in just a second, has helped them become a lot more successful. And so I've created something for you that you can have as a gift, as a token of my appreciation for you spending some time with me. I created a prospecting tracking journal. It's a 12-month journal. There's actually a link to this right in the description beneath this video. And so this planner will help to create this exact same system for you. So I've broken this down over all 12 months, and there's a spot for you to track all of your prospecting every single day of the week, every single month. It allows you to put in your weekly totals so you can make sure that you're on track for your goals. And this breaks this out for all 12 months of the year. There's a link to that in the description for you to download that right now. So I think if you try this, what you're going to find is exactly what Jerry Seinfeld and thousands of other agents that use this same system have found, is that once you kind of put together 3 or 4 days, that the pain of starting all over again is too painful in just doing the thing. So maybe the thing for you is 2 hours of prospecting. Maybe it's posting one piece of content. Maybe it's calling 3 past clients. Maybe it's scheduling an open house. Whatever it is, whatever the thing is that you are trying to be consistent at, that you keep avoiding like crazy, put this system in play. All right, so concept number 2 is to be your future self now. So this is a great book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he does such a great job outlining how to get extraordinary results today based on designing your future. So I'm going to just walk you through how this system works. It's really, really simple. So we all have these 2 characters, right? We have our, this would be current. This is our current self. And we have our future self. Now, it's easy to look into the future and say, okay, what do we want for that future? What do we want our future self to be like? And you could start to like map these out, right? You could start to say, okay, I want to make this type of money. I want to live in this neighborhood or this home. I want to Maybe it's you want to drive a certain vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you want to go on certain vacations, and you can start to map out like what you want your future self to be like. And then the whole idea of being your future self today is saying, okay, if this is the what, this answers, well, what do you want your future self to be like? The question then is who you must become today. Like, what is the type of person that has these things? And you can start to map those out. You could say, okay, if somebody that makes a lot of money, what is that person like? What are the character traits of somebody who makes a lot of money? And you can start to map these out. You could say, okay, well, they're very focused. Okay, what else? They have high levels of discipline. Okay, got it. And what about somebody who not only earns a lot of money, but is very healthy? They take care of themselves. They have a lot of structure, right? Maybe they have high levels of accountability, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And what you would come up with is a list of all of these character traits. And the whole big idea here is that this now becomes a decision. It's who do I have to become in order to have what it is that I want? And so, in other words, what Dr. Hardy has talked about is most people live their life living what we call like, I have to be this certain way to have what I want. And he's just completely inverted that. It's be to have. It's, in other words, who must you become, right? That's why it's be your future self now. So the goal is to be these character traits. It's to behave in a certain way today. It's who you must become right now, which is simply a decision so that you can have what it is that you want in the future. This is inputs and outputs. This is leading indicators and lagging indicators. This is cause and effect. And so the effect of having a lot of money, living in your dream home, driving your dream car, going on your dream vacations, the cause of that would be character traits. And so we have to identify what are the character traits, what are the behaviors of one person who has these things that I say that I want. How do they behave? Who are those people? And we can decide to be that person today so that our future self thanks us for it later. The next concept comes directly from Warren Buffett. And so this is called the focus audit. So I often do this with clients of mine and agents that I'm coaching. And we say, okay, what we know about people that are extremely productive is that it's not by adding so much to their plate. It's actually the inverse of that. It's actually what are the things that we can take away to maximize focus. And so here's the thing. We only have a finite amount of focus. And let's just say you have five units of focus. What most realtors are doing every single day is they have 5 units of focus going into 5 different things. And if this was a chart, they can only reach a certain potential because they're splitting that focus into 5 different things. And so the greatest like story of this when it comes to the focus audit, and again, this comes right from Warren Buffett. He's getting presented with hundreds and hundreds of business ideas every single week from different CEOs, from different businesses, et cetera. He's meeting and coaching with all his different CEOs that own all these different companies with inside Berkshire Hathaway Holdings. And what he challenges all the CEOs with, and what he also does himself, is he picks his vital few, or we call them just the top 3. He says, okay, what are the 3 things that are the most vital to my success? And I am going to literally erase the rest. I'm going to say no to everything else that is not those 3 things. And I think the proper word here to use is vital. Because if you think about human life, there's something called vital signs. Yes. And so when somebody is in some type of accident, the first thing a nurse, an EMT, a doctor will look at is their vital signs. If the knee is bleeding, they don't skip over their vitals to check the knee that's bleeding. Never. They're going to check the most important things first. And we have to do the exact same thing. It's addition, it's growth through elimination. It's doing more by doing less. The problem that you have right now is not that you aren't doing enough. The reality is you're probably doing so much, you feel like you've got to post on social media. You've got to do open houses. You have to do flyers. You have to door knock. You have to prospect. You have to cold call. You have to do all these different things. And as a result of that type of behavior, your business goes nowhere. And so the reality is that if you do a lot less and more of it, here's what it could look like. And this is what we see from top producers all the time. So if they, remember, we have only a certain number of units of focus. So if there's 5, and let's just say you put all of that into one thing, you can drive the initiative, you can drive that a lot higher than you could if you were to split that over 5 different initiatives. So whatever it is that you're doing, right? We always say this is the success formula. It's do more of what is already working. So before you add anything, it's like do more of what you're already doing. Then it's to do it better. So do more of what you're doing. And then as you're doing more of what you're doing, next is to do it better. It's not to add. And I think that's what a lot of realtors want to do is they want to start adding this and they want to add that and they want to, no, we don't need to add anything. We have to do more of what already works. In fact, I spoke to a coaching client today, and in the first quarter of the year, I mean, he's already done over $25 million in sales, and his business is the most simplest business. And I talked to other agents that are like struggling. They all tell me, "Oh my gosh, this market's so difficult, etc." And they have like this Frankenstein of a business. They're doing a million different things. Where the agent who did $25 million, 60 closings in the first quarter, does one thing, has one lead generation strategy, one focus, and doesn't do anything else. No website, no real social media. They don't do anything but their one tactic, their one strategy. They just do a lot of it, and they're really, really good at it, and they get great results. Okay, concept number 4 is to just say no. So if you're going to be able to do anything consistently, and you're going to want to, and you want to get like transformational results in your life and in your business, you're going to have to become someone different. We already talked a little bit about that earlier, but inside of that transformation, we have to stop being the person who says yes to everything, and we have to start saying no to most things. We have to start saying no to anything that is not the vitals. So if it's not the vital, you have to say no so that you have time to say yes to the things that actually matter most. Now, James Clear talks about this in the best way. And so here's what he says, is that we, in the future, we all have the exact same amount of time. It's like our time bank, okay? So here, we can probably see that a little bit better. Okay, so we have this time bank. And inside of this time bank, let's just say the time bank is, in the future, it's all full, okay? It's all full. Every single time that we say yes to something today, it subtracts out some of this time in the future. It takes away time in the future. Every single time you say yes, you are going into debt. It's taking away from what you could be doing in the future, giving you options, and it's guaranteeing what you must do in the future. And so every time you make a commitment, every time you say, yes, I'll do that thing, or or sure, I can go with you to that thing, or yes, I can help you with that, or sure, I'll go to that dinner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Every single time you do that, you are taking away any future opportunities to do the things that are actually going to matter the most. And you are just starting to empty out your future time bank. And now, on the inverse of that, every time you say no to something today, you fill it back up. You start to fill it back up. So every time you say no, you start to fill up your time bank with options. So if you think about this in terms of, I think this is the best way to do it, right? And I went through this myself. So if you just look at this and say, all right, this is your personal calendar, all right? And we'll say, we'll just break this out by weeks. So we'll have week 1, week 2. All right, so we've got week 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll have, watch, this will make a lot of sense. And let's just say this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And let's just say it's Monday right now. And you have an old friend who says, hey, we're golfing on Wednesday. Can you play with us? And you say, yes, I will play golf with you on Wednesday. Well, you are guaranteeing that your time is gone on Wednesday, that future day and time has already been decided on, so that when Wednesday comes, we are guaranteeing that our time is being spent to a commitment that we've made. And people do these all the time with all kinds of things. And this is what their calendar starts to look like. It starts to just get filled up. And then what happens is they say, well, I just don't have any time. I don't have enough time to prospect. I don't have enough time to follow up with my leads. I don't have enough time to meet with clients, which, oh, by the way, are the 3 vitals of any realtor's business. It's talking to new people, following up with people that you've talked to, and presenting to those people. And so what they've done is they've said yes, and they've made so many future commitments that they have 0 time to do the things that actually matter. And so the exact opposite is also true, that when we say no to things, and your calendar looks more something like this, that now you have choices, and those choices can be spent doing the things that you deem are the most vital to accomplishing the goals that you've set. So as you move forward, it's like the things that you were easily saying yes to in the future, it's like, slow down. If I say no to this today, I make a deposit in my future bank. If I say yes to this, I'm going to deplete my future opportunities. And so you want to make those decisions with more precision than just out of impulse. All right, so concept number 5, if you want to become a person that is extremely consistent, who does the hard work every single day, you have to consider at some point that we need to burn clean fuel. So what does this actually mean? Well, I think that the number one most underrated, non-talked about thing that is responsible for more productivity and results than anything else out there is sleep. And not enough people prioritize their sleep. They take it for granted. They're very irresponsible when it comes to their sleep. And we know, based on all the studies, that sleep is the superpower of super achievers. And so many people don't even think about it. They don't track it. They don't go to bed at the same time every day. They don't wake up at the same time every day. They haven't optimized their room for sleep. They haven't optimized the temperature, the lighting. They have no nightly routine. And so their sleep is not of the highest quality. And that affects everything. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's what are we doing around exercise? What are we doing around exercise? When we talk about burning clean fuel, right? We have to have energy. And so working out and exercising allows us to produce energy, right? So like, are you lifting weights? Do you do any type of cardio? Are you getting 10K steps per day? Like these are all the things that actually create energy. Now, we talked about having a finite amount of focus and discipline, but energy can be created. And so through exercise, it's allows you to create energy to produce, to be productive. And so that's number two. And then number three, when it comes to burning clean fuel, is the diet. So crap in, crap out. And so it's like, how are we feeding the system? The system being you and its inputs and outputs. What you put in is what you get out. And again, I think people just shove anything they want into their face and don't think twice about it. And then wonder why they feel like crap and they can't produce, they can't stay focused, they have no energy, etc. And so number five, the system that needs to be put in place is at least to consider these three things: sleep, exercise, and diet. I'm not saying you have to be a fitness model. I'm saying that we're talking about being consistent and being productive to produce the result that you want. All right, the next system is the Pomodoro technique. So, in order to create consistency and to start to build habits, I think one of the things that people really mess up is they say, okay, today's the day that I change everything. And today I'm going to go all out and I'm going to cold call till my fingers bleed. I'm going to cold call till I can't, till I lose my voice. And they have like this all or nothing mindset and they end up burning out. Instead, what is a lot more effective, is if they take these, what I call sprints. So all my clients know what we're talking about here, is we look at sprints. Sprints are 60-minute time increments throughout the day. And we break the sprint up into this. So it's 45 minutes of deep work. So this is going to be dollar producing, highly productive, deep work, followed by 15-minute breaks. And we're going to break these days up. So typically what we want to do is we want to have 8 of these per day. And so if we can have 8 sprints structured like this every single day, and there being 45 minutes of deep work followed by 15 minutes of break, what we know about the Pomodoro technique is that when the mind knows that a break is coming, focus increases. So when somebody is doing something difficult that requires a lot of attention, a lot of emotional bandwidth, a lot of mental clarity and focus, when the mind knows, okay, I only have 45 minutes to do this, and then that timer goes down, and then it's like 30 minutes, then 20 minutes, then 10 minutes. I got only 5 minutes left, and I'm going to get a break. We can stay really focused inside of this deep work. But it's when somebody says, okay, there's no structure around this sprint, and they sit down and try to do something, and they don't know, when it's going to end. It's not structured. They can't even focus for 10 minutes because their impulses get the best of them. And so they start to invite distraction because there is no end in sight. And so rather than just leaving things open-ended, say, okay, I'm going to have a sprint. And the sprint can be 30 minutes, by the way. You could go 20 minutes of like highly focused deep work, followed by 10 minutes break, a 10-minute break. Doesn't have to be 45 minutes. You can start off with 20 minutes. When you do that, the amount of time of when you focus and you do that 6-8 times per day, the amount you will get done in one day will be more so than you probably have done in the last month. Which brings me into concept number 7, which is the impulse journal. So everyone has these all day long as we're trying to stay focused, as we're trying to be consistent, as we're trying to do the deep, most meaningful work that's going to get us the result. We have all these impulses and all these thoughts and all these ideas and all these things that want to pull us in all these different directions. Get an impulse journal. An impulse journal is just you can get a small book at the dollar store, right? Or a local pharmacy. And all you want to do is start to just document. Just start to write down. Every time you have an idea or an impulse, get it out of your head and write it down. This alone will do 2 things. Number 1, it will free up the mind space the mind share that you need to stay focused doing the thing you're doing now. And it will feel like you're not forgetting the thing. And then two, it will allow you to assess later which of these things was just a quick impulse, which of these things do I actually need to take action on? Because what I think you're going to find is that the impulse journal will be huge, and it will be like it will serve as a graveyard of like things that we're going to take away money from you, that we're going to kill your productivity, that you look back and laugh and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was about to do that. Thankfully I didn't. Thankfully I just didn't bounce from, doing something highly productive and go run around and start doing that thing. And a lot of people do it. Most of the impulses is on the cell phone, which is the biggest weapon of mass distraction of all time. And so part of the impulse journey is I would start to put on apps that would remove access to social media during your sprints. And so that you can't even access the social media platforms that are eating away at your best hours of productivity. So system number 8, which is done is better than perfect. You see, I fight this every single day. I know everybody does. This perfectionism mindset. And what we know about perfectionism is that it's simply procrastination in disguise. I talk to agents every single day. It's like, well, I'm struggling to make my calls. Well, okay, tell me about that. I'll shadow them making during a prospecting call block. And what do? Anything but actually make the dial. They're researching the property. They're making sure they've got their business cards and everything's perfect. It's like, no, you're just procrastinating what you know you should be doing because they want everything to be perfect, and it's a myth. And so done is better than perfect. And so like the best way to illustrate this is the iPhone. And so I don't know, I'm not going to draw, I think we're on 14 or 15 iPhones or something crazy. But this is when we look at like version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, etc. Could you imagine if, I don't know when the first iPhone came out, maybe it's a good thing for me to Google. But could you imagine if Apple said, okay, screw that. Let's not go out with version 1, version 2, version 3. Let's just wait until this thing is like perfect. We're going to come out with iPhone 50 as our first version. Are you kidding me? And no one still to this day even had an iPhone or whatever phone you have because they're like, well, it could be better. And so it's like, well, no. Let's come out with a version and let's iterate. And so like the same thing can happen in your business. Listen, you might not have everything perfect. Your script might not be perfect. Your listing presentation might not be perfect. Your website might not be perfect. Your resume might not be perfect. You might not even have a pre-listing packet. You might not have a pre-listing video. You might not have a lot of things in place, but you got to start somewhere. And so coming out with your version 1 is better than no version at all. All right, so concept number 9 is something called Parkinson's Law. Okay, so here's how this works. All right, so on this side of the equation, you have effort. And then at the bottom, you have allotted time. All right. So here's here, I'll make that. Probably you can see that better. Okay. So here's how this works. So all of these come together, but what we know is that, and I'll give you the best example of this ever. Let's just say a real estate agent's business plan says that they have to have 20 new conversations per day in order to hit their goal at the end of the year. Okay. So what most realtors do is they wake up and they say, okay, I've got all day to hit these 20 conversations. And as a result of saying, okay, I've got all day to hit these conversations, I can afford throughout the day to be distracted, to take this call. It's only 9:30. I've got all day to make these 20 conversations. And so I can afford to do this, to do that, to be distracted. And what we know is that for most people, they get to the end of the day when their head hits the pillow. And what's happened? They've had like 7 contacts. It's like, geez, I was just so busy today. I just couldn't get to it. And it wasn't me. It was just all these distractions. And I had so much going on. So tomorrow, it'll be different. And the same thing happens the next day. They wake up and say, I got to do 20 contacts today. I got to find 20 new people to talk to today. And so I've got all day to do it. And so I've got plenty of time. And the same thing happens. So what Parkinson's law teaches us is that the exact opposite of that is actually true. And so when we look at this, here's what we know is that if we limit the amount of time that we have to do the most important things, like we have this optimal time and it's limited, okay? It's a limited amount of time. Let's just say this is 3 hours and we say, okay, this agent's only going to give themselves, okay, 3 hours to make their 20 conversations. What we see is that the agent does that almost every single day. So rather than saying, okay, I've got all day to do this, when you limit the amount of time, you only give yourself a limited amount of time to do the most important thing, not only does consistency go up, but the amount of focus that you bring to that activity increases dramatically, which obviously affects the results that you're going to get. It's the same phenomenon that happens when somebody goes on the day before someone goes on vacation. It's like they get more done the day before vacation than they had months leading up to the vacation. Why? Because time has shrunk, and the amount of time that they have to do the certain tasks that must get done before vacation all get done in one day, where it took them weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before they couldn't get it done with more time. And so use this law as you start to build out your consistency. And now what I want you to do is watch this video so you can see all of this come into action and how you can use it to blow up your business.